Swipey was the hottest rapper in the DMV and was on his way to taking over the whole game. A lot of people think he was about to become a superstar, but then Swipey was brutally shot and killed before he really popped off. And today, we're breaking the whole thing down. Swipey came up on 37th Street in Southeast Washington, D.C. and started rapping when he was a kid. He always wanted to make it in the rap game, but Swipey allegedly got active in the streets before he started dropping music. It's not clear how hard Swipey was going in the trenches, but he rapped about it on tracks like Intro and said, "If I go broke, it's back to selling that torch. Turn the fuck up, I stay lit like a torch. Late night, shooting dice on the porch. Flip the money, I ain't coming up short. Summertime, I got it tucked in my shorts. Keep a hammer like the judge in the court. And straight out the trenches, my young niggas ready. Run up on me, turn your shit to spaghetti." And Glizzy interviewed one of Swipey's cousins in 2023, and Swipey's cousin said that Swipey never capped in his raps.
Swipey was just well-liked, man. Cause even in his music, like songs like Rico and like he went, a lot of in his songs, he's telling 100% truth.
Swipey was rapping about his real life, like on his Rico freestyle when he said, "I swear I could have been a doctor. Got caught with grams in my locker. Whip game too proper. Trap house trying to prosper. Beat the pot like a boxer." According to Swipey's cousin, Swipey really did get caught trapping out of his locker at school and they kicked him out over the situation. Swipey was a great student though, and everybody at the school had love for him. So they let Swipey take a test and graduate with everyone else in his class. Swipey was already getting a ton of buzz on his name before he left school. He had been recording tracks on his phone and dropping them on SoundCloud since he was around 12 years old. So by the time Swipey started doing shows at schools around the area, he already had a bunch of fans who knew all the lyrics to his tracks. After Swipey graduated high school, he had scholarships to go to college, but instead he jumped in the booth full time and started really trying to make it in the rap game. According to the people around him, Swipey put every dollar he made back into his own career because he knew it was going to pay off. Swipey went to a real studio for the first time after he graduated high school, and that's when things really started moving for him. And Swipey wasn't just trying to make it out and leave everyone else behind in the trenches. He started a crew called the Squad Boys with his homie Romilly and some other dudes, and Swipey wanted everyone in the group to pop off. Swipey started getting attention all over the city, and then bigger artists in the rap game found out about him too. Everyone knew he had the skills to really blow up, and his cousin said that Swipey had a bunch of people reaching out and trying to sign him. But instead of signing with a major artist, Swipey took a deal with a small independent label called Men of Principles. A dude named Kevin Baldwin is the CEO of the label, and he started managing Swipey too. At first, it looked like a big win for Swipey. Everything he dropped was running up big numbers, and he even linked up with Lil Durk for the track Celebrate. Swipey was a huge fan of Chicago drill, and getting a track with Lil Durk was crazy for him. But then just a week after the song dropped, news broke that Swipey had been shot and killed outside of a party. On August 21st, 2016, Swipey went to a party at a family member's crib on the 3600 Parkway Terrace Drive in Suitland, Maryland. Swipey had gone outside and was talking to his girlfriend, and that's when 4 dudes walked him down and shot Swipey 4 times. The shooters hopped in their whip and took off, and paramedics rode up to the scene just a few minutes later. They tried to keep Swipey alive, but unfortunately there wasn't anything they could do, and Swipey was pronounced dead at the scene. Swipey's death had a huge impact on the community. Everyone in the area loved him, and Swipey was already giving back even though his career was just getting started. Everyone knew Swipey had a ton of potential. He graduated from high school when he was 16 years old and could have gone to college, but instead he hopped in the booth and started popping off from the jump. Even the local radio host said that Swipey's death had a big impact on them. Swipey had done an interview with WPGC just a month before he was killed, and they were all hyping up his new music and the shows that he had coming up. At first, nobody had any idea who was behind the shooting. Everyone around Swipey said he didn't have any enemies, but it was clear that it wasn't just a random shooting. The cops put up a $25,000 reward for any info about Swipey's murder, but it took months before there was a break in the case. Then in 2017, the news broke that 2 dudes had been booked for killing Swipey. Deshaun Watkins, aka Chunk Gotti, and Dante Brewer were arrested in February 2017, and the way the cops tracked them down was wild. Dante Brewer was wearing an ankle monitor from a different case, and all the cops had to do was look at where he had been. Dante Brewer's monitor showed him pulling up at 12:58 a.m., then leaving a few minutes later at 1:05 a.m. Then the cops got Dante Brewer's phone and found phone records where he was talking to Chunk Gotti 20 minutes before the hit went down. Chunk Gotti and Dante Brewer were both tracked going from Washington, D.C. to the spot where Swipey was murdered, then straight back to D.C. after Swipey was killed. Chunk Gotti was also linked to the case when the cops found a gun around his crib that matched the Swipey shooting. Chunk Gotti got into an argument with a girl on a school bus and he flashed a gun at her. And that's when the cops booked him and ended up finding the strap. Then a few months after Dante Brewer and Chunk Gotti got booked, the cops also arrested Carlos Green and Mandel Green for the Swipey hit. It seemed like the case was about to be solved, but then the trial kept getting pushed back. Nobody knew what was going on, and then the news broke out of nowhere that the prosecutors decided to drop the case. According to rumors, Chunk Gotti snitched on his homies and was going to testify in court, but then he decided not to work with the cops, and it pretty much ruined the prosecutor's case. None of the alleged shooters actually beat the case though, and in 2019, all 4 of them got indicted again, but this time, there was a major twist in the story. The cops charged the 4 shooters again for killing Swipey, but they also indicted Kevin Baldwin and listed him as a co-conspirator. Kevin Baldwin was Swipey's manager and owned the label Swipey was signed to, so when he got indicted for the hit, it shocked the whole city. Kevin Baldwin has turned his phone over to the cops, and at first, they didn't find anything. But in 2019, they used new technology to take another look at his phone data and found out that he had been in contact with Mandel Green before and after Swipey's murder. It looked like the prosecutors finally had a solid case and were about to take it to trial. But then, all 5 of the suspects filed a motion to get the case thrown out, and the judge agreed. When the news broke that the suspects beat the case again without even going to trial, Swipey's friends and family couldn't believe it. Everyone had been waiting for years for Swipey's case to get solved, but instead the courts just threw the whole thing out. But even though nobody went down for Swipey's murder, a lot of people think the case is already solved. According to a lot of sources, including Aunt Glizzy, Kevin Baldwin and his business partner both have ties to the southwest side of DC, which is where the alleged shooters came from, and rumors say that Kevin Baldwin put a bag on Swipey's head. Swipey had a lot of buzz on his name and was getting looks from major labels and artists, and people claim that he wasn't really cool with Kevin Baldwin. Swipey's homie Romilly said that Kevin Baldwin was trying to keep Swipey and Romilly separated.
He tryna make my man stop fucking with me. Back then when we was when me and Swipey was doing that shit, we used to post a lot of pictures together. Yeah. It got to the point like certain shows I wasn't there. Certain video shoots I wasn't there, and it wasn't because of my man. You know, it was because another nigga was on some dick riding shit, trying to separate a nigga from us being what the fuck we was, you know.
But Swipey never changed up on his homies, and that allegedly caused some tension with Kevin Baldwin. But the biggest reason Kevin Baldwin would want Swipey dead is that Swipey was allegedly about to leave Men of Principles Records and sign with Lil Durk. And according to some sources, Swipey only had a month left on his contract with Kevin Baldwin when he got killed. Swipey and Lil Durk were really rocking with each other, and after Swipey died, Durk showed him love on Twitter. Some people think that Kevin Baldwin tried to make Swipey stay on his label, but when Swipey turned him down, Kevin Baldwin had him killed so he could collect insurance money after Swipey died. There's no evidence that proves Kevin Baldwin actually put out a hit on Swipey, but he sounded really suspicious when he started talking about the case with Aunt Glizzy. Aunt Glizzy had made a video about Swipey, and then Kevin Baldwin started calling him out. Aunt Glizzy didn't even mention Kevin Baldwin's name in his original video, but then he went live with Kevin Baldwin and aired him out. Kevin Baldwin tried to explain everything and claimed that the reason he had calls from the alleged shooters is because they were trying to get a feature from Swipey. He also claimed that the alleged shooters had been beefing with Swipey on Twitter, and Aunt Glizzy pointed out how the stories didn't make any sense. If the shooters had beef with Swipey, then they wouldn't want a feature. Plus, they called Kevin Baldwin after Swipey was already dead. On another Instagram Live, Kevin Baldwin also said that right before Swipey got killed, he was set up and robbed. Kevin claims that Swipey started getting money and wasn't playing it safe. At one point, he got paid $2,000 for a video and was carrying it around in his pocket, all cash. Kevin claims he warned Swipey to set up a legit debit card and stop carrying around so much cash, but Swipey didn't want to listen. Not long after, Kevin said he got a call from Swipey around 2 a.m. Swipey had been hanging out somewhere uptown and left to get in an Uber, but while he was standing outside, he got robbed for the money he got from the video, plus his phone, a watch, and a belt. Kevin told Swipey that the dudes he was with must have set him up. Otherwise, the robbers wouldn't have known about the money. He claims that was just one incident, and that Swipey never learned a lesson to be aware of haters who wanted to take a spot. Kevin blamed the people Swipey was hanging out with for backdooring them, but a lot of people think he was just making up stories to get the heat off himself. Kevin Baldwin and the rest of the suspects beat the case, but one of them ended up dying a few years after Swipey got killed. After Chunk Gotti allegedly snitched on his homies, rumors say he got kicked out of his block and started rocking with another crew. It's not clear how everything went down, but in 2021, he was shot and killed on the 4800 block of Benning Road in DC. A lot of people think Swipey got backdoored by his manager, but right after he died, there were rumors going around that Swipey actually got set up by his girlfriend. The night that Swipey got set up, He had walked outside of a party to talk to his girl, and that's when the shooters popped out and killed him. People started claiming Swipey's girl set him up, but the cops jumped in to squash the rumor and said that his girl didn't have anything to do with the situation. Swipey had the potential to really make it far in the rap game, and what's crazy is how many rappers came from the same street as him. Shy Glizzy is one of the most famous DC rappers ever, and he came up on 37th Street too. Swipey wanted to hop in the booth with Shy Glizzy and put on for the city together, but unfortunately, they didn't get the chance. Swipey's homie Romilly was from the same area, and Romilly's cousin No Savage is from 37th Street too. No Savage had some momentum in the rap game too, but that all changed after he started shooting at someone in the middle of a mall back in 2022. No Savage got into a fight with some dudes from Simple City Crew at Tyson's Corner Center Mall and then upped his strap and let off 3 rounds. Nobody got hit, but the cops had all kinds of surveillance footage to use against him. No Savage was facing up to 43 years for the shooting, but he got off easy with a 3-year sentence and came home at the end of 2024. Some people thought No Savage was gonna fall off because he's been dealing with all the legal drama, but then he came home and ran up over 500K views with his first day out video. Young Threat is another rapper from 37th Street who was getting some buzz on his name, but then he just got hit with a 5-year sentence for 3 different shootings. Young Threat allegedly shot someone on the 200 block of 37th Place, and he was involved with 2 other shootings that same year. Young Threat getting locked up for 5 years is tough, but his brother 3 Osama's trying to hold it down for him in the rap game while Young Threat is gone. 3 Osama started rapping after Young Threat, but he's already running up big numbers on YouTube and could take it far if he stays away from the legal drama. It's wild how many rappers from DC all come from the same street, but unfortunately, most of them end up getting killed or going to jail before they can make it out of the city. Swipey had the potential to take over the whole game. He was already working with rappers like Lil Durk, and Swipey even knew Cardi B before she got famous. Swipey had a lot of fans in the DMV, but other rappers were rocking with the music too, and there's even a video of FBG Duck and Sexy Red hanging out and listening to Swipey. Swipey had a big impact on the game, even though he was only around for a couple of years. Everyone wants to know what really happened to him, but unfortunately the prosecutors dropped the case and will probably never know the full story.